I teach a level of spirituality as it has been revealed to me that is being taught in the universe around us. A greater community spirituality, I call it, has to do with the development of inner guidance, knowledge, greater community wisdom, and our preparation for a future within this greater community of intelligent life. So my journey for this has been mysterious, obviously. No degrees are given to these sorts of things in universities. So though I graduated from a prestigious university, my journey in life has been much more mysterious and guided by higher powers, increasingly. My early career beyond university was teaching visually handicapped adolescents in Living Skills Center. And it was during this time that I began to hear what was profoundly an inner voice. It was guiding me how to work with these individuals because many of them had very complex mental and physical handicaps. And I only had a brief outline of what I was to do with them. And from that, I had to be able to improvise. So this improvisation was aided by the fact that an inner voice was guiding me in many cases in dealing with these individuals. And during this time, I developed a sense of connection with some other force in my life, though it was not visible to me. It had not announced itself in my life at any time. And yet I worked with this for quite a few years. And so I made my focus of teaching what was revealed to me in inner guidance training, which I taught for 5 or 6 years in several different cities. And that led me again to have what I consider to be a profound initiation experience of having a direct contact with the forces that have been guiding me for years that really changed my life. And from that on, I literally began to undo everything I've done professionally and start anew. I wandered for 9 months until this presence called me forth to begin to receive a teaching which would eventually be called a greater community way of knowledge or a new message for humanity. And it was the very beginning of something that I knew nothing about. There was nothing like this in the world. This is a teaching from beyond the world for the world to help us prepare for our future and destiny in a greater community of intelligent life in the universe. Who knows anything about that? It's great to think that we're not alone in the universe, and I think planetary exploration has given us a clue that there are many habitable planets, probably within certain range of our world, our solar system. But what life is really like out there, and what spirituality means out there, that's something very, very new. And so my process of development is preparing me for a very unique role. My telepathic abilities aren't just to do normal things in normal situations, but really to engage with a greater set of forces that are preparing us for our future and our destiny in space. So, I was setting out to do something that was really original and difficult because I was given very little information about it at the outset. I was only given steps to take, but they were big steps. It led me to relocate, enabled me to meet my wife, with whom I've been married for 40 years, very happily. It led me to do things that aren't scripted anywhere else, either in religious training, or in psychological training, or in practical training. So this last 40 years has been establishing a contact with an angelic presence, receiving a preparation for humanity for its future and destiny in a universe of intelligent life. And part of that preparation has to deal with the challenge to humanity that it's facing right now from forces from this greater community. The main focus of my work is the reality and spirituality of life in the universe, the great global change that we're undergoing now, which is profound, and the nature and purpose of contact and the alien presence in our world today, and how we should prepare for that. Because clearly our freedom as a race is at stake in this transition. This is the greatest transition we have ever made as a race. It is the greatest threshold we have ever faced as a race. We're entering an environment we know nothing about, and our ideas and our beliefs and expectations may do little to prepare us for the eventualities and the realities of this great threshold that we're involved in. So the group of off-planet observers began a series of contacts with me over a 20-year period. The 4 sets of Allies of Humanity briefings given over a 20-year period with little contact in between, which means I was not in contact with these beings at all during the intervals between these times of receiving briefings. Allies 1 given over a 3-year period from 1996 to 1998 with a question and answer part added later. And I think it took 3 years for me to adapt to the realities that they were presenting to me, because even though I've been studying greater community spirituality for many, many years, what they were telling me about our local universe was pretty shocking and revealing. And I was going to have to be responsible for sharing this information with the world indefinitely. Allies 2 received in year 2000, all 6 briefings given in 24 hours. Allies 3 in 2008, all 6 briefings given in 24 hours with a question and answer added later. And Allies 4 in 2016, all 6 briefings received in 24 hours. I have had years of experience in the angelic presence, which I don't know how to describe the angelic presence. When you read the chronicles from the ancient times, when prophets were overcome with this presence, they thought they were going to die. So overwhelming it was and is. And I had to learn over years how to receive this presence. But the Allies of Humanity was very different. It was like a distant voice speaking through, like a translator, like a mechanical, almost a mechanical voice, very far away, not present at all, not in my presence at all. Whereas the angelic envelops me. It's intense. It's like drinking from a fire hose. It's intense. It's beautiful, but it's intense. This is why I never encourage people to have these kind of experiences unless they're destined to. So the briefings began to flow, and I would hear the voice and repeat into the recorder. But eventually, because I'm adept at this, their communication and my voice linked up, and I just began to speak their message into the recorder. And their message was remarkably intact, comprehensive, and certainly germane to everything that we're dealing with in the world today, plus the reality of contact around us. These briefings added a whole other dimension to everything I had received. And I think would prove over the last almost 25 years to be very instructive to me about what is happening in the world since regarding contact, what's been revealed about it, a great deal of study that's been taken regarding UFOs, UAPs, as they're called now. This was a non-technical channel established for me to receive the Allies, because a technical channel can be intercepted by forces from beyond the world. And so it was very secure. And the angelic presence prepared me for this event and had presented the Allies always, until recently, they would come first and the Allies would come second. I would be asked to receive, I would feel that presence, and then the distant contact would be established, and I would be able to receive what the briefings had to offer. The briefings were recorded and transcribed in their original form, so what you are hearing or reading is the original form. Soon after the first volume of Allies of Humanity was received, I began to present the Allies of Humanity Briefings. I only had the first book of it, in conferences and in interviews. And it was amazing that what I was sharing with people even then was so different than anything people had seen or even considered. And that still continues to be the case today. Currently, many people in the world are engaging with the briefings. It's a very challenging thing to experience. It's a beautiful thing to experience. It shows a very high regard for the human family and a desire to serve and protect us as we enter a more hazardous engagement with life beyond our world.